Most people have seen the ice bucket challenges for ALS awareness all over social media. But how many people have actually seen what it is to live with ALS? Join MB12 this Monday evening for an in-depth look at what it is to live with this debilitating disease as we do our part to increase ALS awareness.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into NB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios in Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, the Prime Minister mulling over the fate of Renwood Wells this weekend. A senior F&M calling for the postponement of the constitutional referendum. A new museum flashes back to old Bahamas. Plus, tips to get your muscles strong and flexible. I'm Paige McCartney. We've got those stories and more straight ahead on NB12 Weekend. Welcome once again to MB12. Despite asking Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Works, Renwood Wells, to resign 6 weeks ago over the controversial letter of intent he signed with Stellar Waste to Energy last month, Prime Minister Perry Christie said yesterday he needs to consider the results of the probe into the matter before making a determination. The controversy arose after it was revealed that Wells signed the document without cabinet approval. The LOI was for a $600 million plus waste-to-energy plant for the New Providence landfill. Following the revelation of the signing, Christie asked Wells to resign. However, Wells has not resigned and Christie has not fired him.
I've just received a communication from Mr. Brave Davis with respect to information I'd requested, and an communication from Mr. Ken Dorsett, who is the minister responsible for landfills. And so, as you'd appreciate, Mr. Wells works in the Ministry of Works, but the matter also concerned the Ministry of the Environment. So you can expect, therefore, I will probably take a weekend to review and then you'll hear from me.
Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works Philip Brave Davis said last week that his ministry's investigation was completed and the results of that probe were sent to the Office of the Prime Minister. He said that he expected Christie to turn his attention to the matter after the government deals with several pieces of legislation. Wells told MB12 on Monday that he was still waiting to learn his fate and that he would not comment on the matter publicly. When pressed on when that announcement would be made, Christie said this.
Well, you'll hear from me imminently. I mean, look, I'm right now leaving here to go back to gaming.
Well, as the November 6th constitutional referendum fast approaches, another senior member of the Free National Movement has suggested it may be wise for government to postpone the referendum. F&M Deputy Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands told MB12 that in addition to educating Bahamians on the 4 constitutional amendment bills, the Christie administration has a lot of convincing to do if it wants a good voter turnout. Kyle Joaquin has the story.
When it comes to the upcoming constitutional referendum set for November 6, F&M Deputy Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands says the government's best bet at this moment would be to delay it. He says aside from there being so little time to carry out an effective educational campaign, the government also has the tough task of trying to convince the Bahamian people that their reasoning for putting these issues to referendum is genuine. Sands says he plans on voting yes to all 4 questions when the referendum is held on November 6th. However, following retired Justice Ruby Nottich's suggestion that 3 months may not be enough time to educate the public, Sands says delaying the referendum would be the best move.
But as I listen to people talking in the street, I realize that a lot of people have some genuine concerns about why this is being done, whether there are any ulterior motives. They're concerned about whether or not the language is adequate. And I think that we need to respect those concerns. And if we need to spend an extra week or an extra month or an extra few months allaying the concerns, then we ought to do so.
F&M Deputy Leader Loretta Butler Turner recently said she would support a delayed referendum if that's the only way it would be done right. Sands says given the Christie administration's failure to meet self-imposed deadlines in the past and their refusal to abide by the results of the 2013 gaming referendum, the government just can't win with this one. He says although the referendum is being focused on gender equality, Bahamians will use the opportunity to send a strong message to the government and vote no to all 4 questions.
They didn't feel it was important, they meaning the current government, didn't feel it was important before. They didn't feel it was important to respect the referendum last year. Okay, I have an opportunity. I don't have much of an opportunity to let my government know how I feel. But I have this sacred power that I will use, and I will show you who is the boss. And I will beat you with it. I mightn't say much, but I will beat you with that pen.
The FNM deputy chairman asserted that the Christie administration has put the country in a state where no one believes anything politicians have to say. He added that the only way for people to believe the government is being genuine is for the Prime Minister to apologize for opposing a similar referendum in 2002 under the Ingham administration.
He has an opportunity now to demonstrate whether he has true leadership skills. And sometimes leadership demands that you acknowledge the errors of the past sincerely, not the way he did with the last referendum. Look the Bahamian public in the face, perhaps admit that some things had been done that ought not to have been done, and to ask that we come together as a people and do this not for him, but for our children and our grandchildren.
Sand says if the Prime Minister were to apologize and get everyone on one accord, then maybe he would see his political approval ratings rise. Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
And head of the government's educational campaign for the referendum, retired Justice Ruby Nottage is once again addressing concerns over the fourth constitutional amendment bill. That bill seeks to eliminate discrimination based on sex. DNA leader Branville McCartney and Marco City MP Greg Moss have said it could open the door for gay marriage. While addressing a group of Rotarians this week, Nottage said even if someone happens to get a sex change and finds a way to have their gender changed on their passport, it's their gender at birth that will determine how they marry as long as they live in the Bahamas.
Birth, we are given our sexual status, meaning at birth it is easily found out whether the person is male or female because of the chromosomal makeup. I am a little shy of continuing with the words at birth, and let me listen, I want you to hear this. If you are male and female at birth, you don't change. So why put at birth? Are you suggesting that you do change when you're 24? The scientists say that if you take my chromosomes at 24, I'm still male or female. If you take my chromosomal checkup or nodal checkup and I'm 54, I'm still male or female.
Nottage said in consulting with various civic bodies, it was suggested that the words at birth be added to Bill number 4, but she says that makes no sense. She said in countries like South Africa, sex has a number of definitions in their constitution, including male or female, sexual preference, or sexual orientation. She added that the Constitutional Commission is seeking to ensure it's defined as male and female.
In this Constitution, we are saying sex means male or female. Let's go back to the bigger one, please. Male or female, it doesn't mean sexual orientation. It doesn't mean sexual preference. Yes. You want some international trouble? Put that in.
Nottage added that the Commission simply wants to ensure there is no discrimination based on sex.
These issues are about equality of male and female. So in the equality issue, there is no question that you can have same sex, which does not bring up equality. Same sex is 2 men. There's no equality issue arising, or 2 women. Sex in the Constitution with respect to discriminating on the grounds of sex means discriminating between male or female with respect to their equal status.
The Constitutional Commission has a few more meetings scheduled for next week before members hand a final draft of the bills over to government. 2 of those meetings are with the Bahamas Christian Council. And the government's delayed efforts to educate Bahamian businesses about the implementation of value-added tax are moving too slowly and are making a January 1st start date for the tax increasingly difficult. And that's according to Coalition for Responsible Taxation co-chair Gowan Bowe. He stressed that the government needs to expedite its education efforts and expressed doubt about the government's ability to successfully educate the roughly 4,000 VAT-eligible businesses by the end of the year.
I think it's moving too slow because September 1 is what, Monday, or not far off. And from that perspective, if you're saying registration starts October 1st, which was originally intended to be September 1st, you're saying that you expect 4,000 businesses. There are only 30 days in September, right? So even if you work through every day, straight, including Sundays, you're not going to be able to, right, 4,000 businesses. And right now, the Education Task Force is in the process of being finalized.
Bo argued that maintaining consistency is equally crucial in preparing local businesses for the tax, adding that differing interpretations and training among VAT educators could have severe consequences for business owners.
If there's not a sort of harmonized approach, it's going to become very disjointed. And one of the things we discussed with the Ministry of Finance no later than Tuesday of this week is we need to have a consistent message. So whoever's doing the training, whilst I would call it train the trainer, there needs to at least be a vetting by the Ministry of Finance to say that this message is going to be consistent, because the worst thing that can happen is one entity interpreting or training persons in this way, the other one train them in that way, both with the best of intentions. But as we say, the road to hell is paved with good intention. So,
in an interview with MB12 on Thursday, Minister of State for Finance Michael Halkitis responded to VAT education concerns, stating that while it had still not finalized the members of the Education Task Force, the government is ramping up its efforts and would address the needs of the country's largest businesses during the next month before educating small and medium-sized enterprises. And shifting gears, police were involved in a shootout with armed robbery suspects in southwestern New Providence last night. Reports are that around 10 p.m., officers rushed to the scene of an armed robbery at a business on Faith Avenue South. As the two culprits were escaping the building, they allegedly opened fire on responding officers. Police returned fire but were unable to catch the suspects. Investigations are ongoing. When MB12 returns, those BEC outages were costly for a major hotel, plus later get transported back in time with a new cultural attraction. Stay with us.